Well, I see it's noon, so I'll go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great virtual Allentown Fiber Festival. We all wish that we could be there in person, but, we're still trying to finish up quarantining, everybody getting vaccinated. Hopefully everybody's either gotten their vaccines or in the process of getting them. I can tell you, Spencer and I have just completed our second shot. So we're hoping in a couple of weeks to emerge from our home for the first time in a year, to go do things. We've really been really quarantined. Fortunately for us, both of our jobs allow us to work from home. So unless it's been medically necessary, we have really not left our house. So for those of you who aren't familiar with us, we are yarn and fiber dyers. We've been doing this business for a little over 10 years now. Our focus is often on the science and technology around the yarn and fiber. We like to help people learn about fiber and where it comes from, how it's produced, things like that. Our colorway names are often based on the scientific names for plants, animals, minerals. We usually list the common name as well as the scientific name. So if it's a gemstone, like say aquamarine, it'll actually have the chemical formula for aquamarine as well as the common name aquamarine on it. We try to name our collections after people we want to recognize and honor, oftentimes people who were overlooked. So one of our yarn lines is named after Rosalind Franklin. She helped determine that the structure of DNA has that double helix shape. However, she was not recognized when the Nobel Prize was given for these discoveries because she had already passed, and at the time the Nobel Prize was not given posthumously, so she passed away without really receiving that high honor, and we're trying to honor her through naming a yarn collection after her. So with that, when we first started our business, one of the first people that we chose to look at, we weren't really focused on science, we were looking at naturalists. And one of the first people we chose was actually John James Audubon. John James Audubon is famous for painting birds. There's a famous ornithological society, the Audubon Society, named after him. He painted all these birds. I'm sure you've seen paintings of it. And we had named several of our yarn lines after him. But recently, as it's been coming out, he has been recognized as actually being a very racist person. He owned slaves. And because of that, we've recently decided in our efforts to be anti-racist and actively anti-racist, we don't want to honor somebody by naming one of our yarn lines for somebody who had such a sordid past. And we've recently renamed our entire Audubon line after, correct me if I'm wrong, it's O'Neill Ray Collins?
Yes, O'Neill Ray Collins.
O'Neill Ray Collins. So if you are looking at any of our products and you see, if you're looking for our Audubon line, you should now be looking for Collins. It's been renamed on our website. We do still have some yarn tags that say Audubon, and we are currently, before we ship things out, we're relabeling them with the Collins name. But I apologize, I may slip up and say Audubon, and what I really mean is Collins if I say it. So I see somebody already wants us to show off some yarns. So the yarns here that I have in the little window here, these are our Mutation Minis. So these yarns are sold in little mini skeins. They're 1 ounce mini skeins, which ends up being 96 yards. They're great if you want to add a little pop of color to a project. They're sport weight yarns. And when you purchase them, we select them randomly. This is some of the colors. We have probably 6 or 7 other colors besides these 4 that I'm showing here. Those cost $7. Normally, we actually have a special for this Allentown weekend. Everything on all the yarns, fiber, enamel pins, and spinning fiber is 10% off. There's no code needed. Once you add them to your cart and make the purchase, the discount will be taken automatically. So a lot of people, if you like mini skeins, I think these are a great way. Like I said, we do select them randomly. We keep them in a bin, all the different colors. And when we pick your order, we just pick right from the top whatever colors we grab. So Spencer, are there any other questions or anything I need to address yet?
No, but they would like you to hold up the yarn as well so they can see it.
Like here, or
in the big window
in the big window? Okay, so here's the
like where you are.
Well, that's what I'm saying right here.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So these are the mini skeins here. At least the ones that I had on the little plate. Like I said, they're packaged. They're 1 ounce and approximately 96 yards each in the sport weight. So another yarn I wanted to talk about, this is our Hopper DK. So this is actually named after Grace Hopper. She was a computer scientist in the Navy. She's very famous. You'll see a lot of, if you're in the IT world, you'll see a lot of things named after her. We actually, when we chose this yarn base, it actually has a natural gray undertone. And when we dye it, it doesn't come out the same as our other colors. So we ended up going a different route with the colorway names for this yarn. This yarn actually is named after hexadecimal codes that are used for setting colors on websites and things. So hopefully everybody can see that. This is a blend of merino, yak, and silk. It's very soft. I love this yarn. So this is the Hopper DK. We also have a Hopper fingering. The Hopper fingering has a slightly higher content of yak and silk, but it's a wonderful yarn to work on. This is $40 a skein. So behind me here, this section here, this is our Collins Sport. It's very similar to the mini skeins that I showed. We typically focus on semi-solid colors as opposed to multicolored variegated yarns. We do have some, but our main focus is solid colors. We like to think of it as the little black dress that you add to when you buy the indie colors that are all speckly and stuff. You still need a solid color to bind everything together. So that's our main focus. So some of our most popular colors here end up being our almondine. Almondine comes on all of our yarn bases. It is a red with a black overtone. Hopefully you can see that there in the close-up. This one is peridot or peridot, depending on if you watch Steven Universe. So peridot, this is a green with a gray cast to it. There. A new one that we just recently named, this is a orange with a gray cast. We're calling this Imperial Topaz. Sorry, I haven't quite tucked in the ties yet. So
Imperial Topaz isn't yet on the website, but it will be getting there soon.
So Spencer, which one? Oh, one of Spencer's favorite colors. This is oh no, this is Deep Teal Spinel. Azurite. So Azurite is a blue with a dark cast to it. That's this one right here. This is probably one of our most popular colorways. I know Spencer loves it. And then this one is Deep Teal Spinel, which is a very dark teal, a bluish green, a greenish blue colorway. So all of these yarns that I just showed, these are our Collins Sport. They are approximately, oh crap, Spencer, I don't have my thing. Do you know how many yards are in them?
Sport, off the top of my head, I'd have to look it up on the website. I can put it in the chat. Sure.
So Spencer will provide the information about how many yards are in them. I want to say it is 385 yards and a 4-ounce skein. So it's enough to make a men's pair of socks.
Yep, 385.
Yep. So So with that, like I mentioned, we focus on both dyeing yarn as well as fiber. So we both do, as a hobby, we both spin yarn. And we had purchased from a company in the UK, we purchased a bunch of processed wools with specific breeds. So if you're interested in trying out some different breeds of yarn, some different breeds of fiber to spin, we recently picked up, this is light gray Herdwick. It is a light gray color. This is a more rustic fiber. It is, it's got a lot of guard hair in it, but it feels like it's going to make a pretty sturdy project. Maybe not next to skin, but something, a nice over, something that you would wear over your clothes or something. It might be nice. Here's some white Cheviot fiber. So pretty white. Sorry for the bag is reflecting the light. This one is light gray Swaledale. I had to Google how you pronounce the name. This one's also a somewhat coarse rustic fiber. It also has some guard hair in it. You know, I know I sometimes don't like working with stuff with guard hair, but some people do. This has all been processed as top. It means that it's been combed as opposed to just being carded. So the fibers are much more aligned. And as you're spinning it, depending on your spinning technique, you can get a more worsted style yarn as opposed to a woolen style yarn as you're spinning it. Any questions, Spencer?
No.
All right.
I've been answering them as they come in.
Okay. All right. So some other things that we carry besides yarn and fiber. Actually, in the fiber category, we also have several silks. So if you're interested in trying out different silks, I know a lot of times Spencer and I would go to stores and we would see the same fiber every time we went to a store. So we try to, when we get fiber and carry it, we try to pick things that are a little more exotic or different than you see. So we actually carry several different types of silk. So silk is produced by moths, very specific types of moths. Silk is the cocoon that the moth creates when it goes from being a caterpillar to a moth. And different types of caterpillars produce different types of moth. So the first silk here, this is peduncle silk. So peduncle silk is actually part of the cocoon where the cocoon actually attaches to stuff. It's a more rustic silk. It's a little rougher. It's not as smooth and shiny as cultivated silk would be, but it's going to have a different texture. It's still fun to work with, for sure. And all these silks are processed as top, which means they're not one single long strand that came out of the cocoon. It has been cut into shorter pieces. It's usually like 5 to 7 inches in length in the staple. So Eerie silk, Eerie is a type of silk that varies in color depending on the diet of the silk moth, of the caterpillar. So in cultivated silk, traditionally they only feed the caterpillar mulberry leaves, but with the caterpillars that produce Eerie silk, they feed them different diets and they produce different colors. So this is a sampler bag. It's 3 ounces of silk. It has reddish orange color, a white, and a yellow color. 1 ounce each.
Things people should know about that is they don't want to wash it in hot water.
That's true. So the color of the Eerie silk ends up existing. Silk has it is made up of 2 different layers. The outside layer, when you have colored silks like this, the color's in the outside layer. And that layer can be washed off if you wash it aggressively, if you wash it in hot water with strong detergents and stuff. So if you do want to spin this, you're going to want to hand wash in cold water and very mild detergents. Yeah.
So people would like you to talk about needle felting kits.
Needle felting kits, sure. So I actually have a needle felting kit right here. So we carry several needle felting kits. They're designed by a company called Chicktin Chicktin Creations. There's several different types of animals. This one is a chameleon. Her name is Connie the chameleon, although I'm sure you could call her whatever you want. So inside this kit, you actually get everything you need to create this cute chameleon, Connie. As you can see here, there's several different colors of wool fiber. There's also an armature wire for actually creating a wire armature for Connie. It also comes with the needles, and there's a foam pad here that you're going to use. You're going to set the fiber on this foam pad when you're doing your needle felting. And then there is a color guide. This booklet actually has step-by-step photo instructions of how to assemble and felt Connie. So Connie is one of the newer kits we have. We also have Bruno, which is a bear. Georgie is a German Shepherd. All the names in this line are alliterations. As I mentioned before, these kits, all of the felting kits, are also 10% off in our store without a code right now. Other animals include a giraffe, a meerkat, a panda, a cute pig. So if you're into needle felting, or if you want to try needle felting, I wouldn't say this is for an absolute beginner who doesn't know what needle felting is, but if you've seen needle felting, these are the instruction booklets are fairly easy to follow. Anything else, Spencer, before I move on?
No, there were some questions, but I'm answering them.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if you didn't know, we do have a couple of lines of merchandise. So we actually carry some mugs that have our logo on them. This is a 20-ounce ceramic mug. It is microwavable, but because of the silk screening on the actual mug, we don't recommend dishwashing. So it is hand wash only, but it's 20 ounces. You know, if you're one of those coffee addicts like we are, we have a pod system, and it usually takes 2 pods to fill this up, which gives us the kick we need in the beginning of the day.
There were some questions about dyed fiber and fiber for felting that we have on our website. I'm trying to think if we have any recently dyed. So we just posted specimen 556 and 557 on our website, which are both hand dyed by us. And then there's us. We don't have a sample here in front of us at the moment. But those are, if you go to the fiber link recently and sort by recent, you can see those are brand new. And then Reggie, is there any fibers you want to highlight or talk about that would be good for needle felting that people might want on their own for the website?
Sure. So when you're looking at our listings, we usually list, we always list the fiber content. There's 2 kinds of fiber, and you want to be careful when you're reading the description. So we carry some fiber that is super wash. Super wash means that it's been treated to keep the scales on the wool, on the hair, from interlocking, which is the felting process. So anything that says it has super wash fibers aren't going to necessarily be good for felting. You may be able to felt them into a project, but they're not really going to lock in like you want them to. And then we have several products that are listed as super fine. So super fine wools, that just means that the wool is extra thin. Traditionally, the thinner the hair, the thinner the fiber, the softer it feels. And super fine just means that it's a really fine, really thin fiber. That does not mean it's super wash. So if it says super fine, that is something you should be able to use for felting. We also have silks. I've seen people using silks for felting, although it again, it doesn't necessarily have that scale on it to cause it. If you needle it enough, you can get it to add to your projects as well. All of these individual sheep breeds, if you're looking for natural colors, none of the sheep breeds I talked about earlier are superwash. They're all just standard wools that have been processed as top, so they're all feltable. Though we don't typically, for specific sheep breeds, because we're trying to sell them for the natural colors, we don't typically dye specific sheep breeds like that. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So some other things I wanted to talk about. We have about 10 minutes left. But if you didn't know, we carry several enamel pins. We've had several characters created. This is one of our newer characters, Dr. Dromedarius.
Yeah, I'm upside down.
He's not upside down now, right?
Nope.
So sorry, can you see him there, Spencer?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Okay. So Dr. Dromedarius, this character, they like to spin. As you can see, they actually have a Turkish drop spindle that they're spinning. This pin comes with 2 posts for extra secure connections. This particular pin is one of our newer pins, which actually came with locking back. Some of our older pins did not come with locking backs. We always recommend, if even if you don't buy our enamel pins, any enamel pin you have, you should make sure you're using locking backs on them to make sure they stay secure to your bag or whatever you put them on. We have this, it's a rainbow metal. As you move it back and forth, you can see the metal has a couple of different colors in it. It's mostly purplish, but I see some blues and greens in it as well. And this is stamped with our FI logo. One of our original characters, Professor Aries. Professor Aries is a sheep that is holding some yarn and a test tube. All of our characters wearing our notable lab coats there.
Professor Aries is also available on a t-shirt.
That's true. Professor Aries, we do have Professor Aries on a t-shirt. This is one of our newer designs as well, Administrator Boss. So all of the names, if you haven't caught it, so Boss is the genus for a yak, which is what Administrator Boss represents. Professor Aries is the genus for sheep. And then Dr. Dromedarius is the genus for camels. We also have Dr. Pacos. Dr. Pacos is an alpaca. And of course, Pacos is the scientific genus for alpacas. So the fun thing about these, we get people, even if they're not necessarily scientists, people who work in labs, people who work in doctors' offices that wear lab coats, love to collect these. If you have friends who work in those industries, these are nice little gifts for them as well. Anything else, Spencer?
There were some questions about pre-ordering the topaz, and so I'm just answering that in chat.
So some people always ask, they're like, what dyes do you use when you dye? Different dyers, there's several brands out there. We use different colors. Different manufacturers make different colors, and we're always experimenting with different colors. But we're also Ashford dealers. Ashford is a company out of New Zealand, and they're always coming out with new products. They make spinning wheels and looms. If you're interested in getting into spinning or weaving, we'd love to talk to you about it. We could share the online catalog for that. But one of the new products that Ashford recently introduced is actually an introduction to dyeing kit. So we have a couple of these. The kit includes 4 dye colors. It comes with a pink, black, blue, and yellow. That's enough dye that you can mix a rainbow of colors out of that. It also comes with a color wheel. It comes with 2 skeins of yarn. The yarn is 75% wool and 25% nylon, so it's a sock weight fingering weight yarn. Sorry, it's a sock style fingering weight yarn. Not to confuse that. And the dye itself, although it only comes with 2 skeins of yarn, when you actually mix up the dye, each of the dye containers contains enough dye to dye approximately 2 pounds or 1 kilogram of fiber and yarn. So you don't have to necessarily just dye the yarn that's in here. Once you mix it up, you could actually dye yarns that you have at home if you bought a yarn in the past and then said, you know what, I don't really like this color, and you haven't been using it because you decided you didn't like it once you got it home. You can always do over dyeing. Over dyeing is the process of layering an additional color on top. It's a great way of taking, we sometimes make mistakes and we don't like it, and we'll go ahead and over dye colors as well. So if you've been interested in trying out dyeing yourself at home, this is a great way. It's a little starter kit. It's a great way to get started. We also sell the dyes individually. We sell a small pack that just includes the pink, yellow, and blue by itself. If you don't want the whole kit, if you're just interested in the dye, you can also find that on our website as well. So what else can I tell you? So I mentioned the hopper DK and the hopper fingering before. Like I said, it's a merino yak silk. It's been some of mine, and Spencer, do you disagree? This is one of your favorite yarns to work with.
Yeah,
recently.
super squishy.
Super squishy. How does that look if I put them here?
So just over a little bit more.
Which way?
Other way.
This way. Okay. So I'll just set them there. I think I've covered. Did I miss anything, Spencer?
Or do you have any of the I don't know, any other yarn you wanted to show?
You know what? I did want to talk about one other thing. So along with being Ashford dealers, we're also Kookaburra dealers. I don't know if people have tried Kookaburra in the past. So Kookaburra is a company out of Colorado. I actually think it was the company started in New Zealand, but some people in Colorado purchased it, and it's now in Colorado. So this is a 16-ounce bottle, but we also sell 2-ounce bottles. So Kookaburra is a special, you don't necessarily need to rinse it out, wash that you would use to wash your finished items, your finished yarns when you finish spinning them, or mittens, hats, gloves. And what Kookaburra has in it has a little bit of lanolin. Traditionally, when you process yarn and process fiber and you turn it into yarn, it loses some of that natural lanolin, the natural waxy oil that comes with the wool. And what happens is products like Kookaburra, when you wash with them, it helps to recondition the fiber by adding a little bit of lanolin back in. Now, some people are allergic to lanolin, and I don't have an example here, but Kookaburra also makes a delicate version. The delicate version does not have any lanolin in it. So if you do have lanolin allergies, rather than using the standard wash product, you'd want to use their delicate product. So all of the Kookaburra products, what they have in them is tea tree oil. That's their big, I hate to say gimmick, but that's the big thing that they're adding to all of their products. The delicate also has half the tea tree oil. A lot of their other products do. So if you're also sensitive to tea tree oil, their delicate would be the product to go with. So their wash product comes in original, which has a scent that they added. They have a no scent added. That's just going to have the tea tree smell. And then they also have a wash that has a lavender scent added. Some other products that they sell a scour product. Now, scour is different than their wash product. Scour is used if you're processing fleece. If you've bought a raw fleece at a show, or if you've gone to a farm and purchased a raw fleece, part of what you need to do in processing it is you need to wash it. You want to get out the dirt, but you also want to remove some of that lanolin, and the scour product is what you would use there. Some people get confused and they've tried using wash. Wash is not meant to remove lanolin, but scour is. So if you're into processing wool and fiber, you may want to give scour a try. And then their last product is actually Power. Power is a household cleaner. You would actually take this, you dilute it in water, and you would use it to clean your floors, clean your countertops. As I mentioned, all of the products that they sell contain tea tree oil. We use this at home, Power. We have friends who actually buy it by the gallon and use it to clean their whole house.
I've also used it to spot clean fiber garments.
That's true. You can also use this to spot clean before throwing your garments in the wash. Some people use this as a spot clean before laundering their clothes as well. So
we only have about a minute left. So I want to thank everyone for joining us again today. You can find all of our stuff on our website. I posted that link in the chat a number of times. So if you are listening or watching later, it's thefiberists.com.
I missed them. The most important thing I missed.
And thanks everyone again for joining. Hope you have a great virtual Allentown Fiber Fest 2021.
Great. Thanks everyone for joining.